The following is a podcast from a qualified senior care provider heard on the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And this week I'm really excited about this topic because, when we get later in life, a lot of us retire, we end up going out, there's all kinds of statistics out there that quality of life diminishes, and yet it doesn't necessarily have to. And we've talked a little bit on this show about finding purpose, finding new meaning, meaning in a second half of life. But, I'm very excited for our guests this week because you are going to meet an amazing gentleman that I have had the privilege of knowing for quite some time. And his name is Benjamin Surmi, and he is a social gerontologist. And Benjamin serves right now as the Director of Education and Culture at Koelsch Communities. And Benjamin oversees wellness programs. He works with directors and executive directors in their communities that supports over 1,500 seniors throughout senior living communities, which we're going to talk about throughout the United States. And Benjamin Surmi, I am so glad to have you on Answers for Elders. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Suzanne. So good to be with you again.
First of all, I want to say thank you because starting next month, we have an amazing series for our listeners, and you're going to be hearing a lot about the foundational principles of wellness. And we're going to be talking about various aspects as we get older in life, as we start to embrace different forms of, lifestyles as we get older. And not only that, but if you're a family caregiver, how do you stay balanced, focused on your own life and the best quality of life possible? And one of our chief consultants to developing this program is Benjamin. And Benjamin, I am so grateful for your contributions and your enthusiasm for our new program that we're going to talk a little bit about later. So Benjamin, thank you again for being on Answers for Elders.
So good to be here, Suzanne.
So Benjamin, I know you work in the senior industry, and I love your mission is to empower older adults. Could you tell me a little bit more about your background and what has led you here? This is a fascinating world that you've created.
Sure. I've been a caregiver, activity director, lifelong learning center director, home repair coordinator. I've gone all over the place and serving different kinds of people in different stages of aging and different situations. And along the way, I just realized so many older people were in a place where they really didn't have much purpose, or they couldn't go after their purpose. So my lifelong career theme has been empowering elders to go after things that really matter to them. So currently I'm director of culture at Koelsch with that as a big focus. Yeah.
And that is something that we may not think about, families may not think about when they're looking at, they have a senior loved one that may sit in front of a TV set all day. I've seen it so many times where, dad sits or mom sits in front of the TV set. She doesn't really, as their capacities get, less and less, they tend to isolate, tend to be, alone. Of course, the pandemic didn't help either. So I obviously have seen that and be, the fact that you have this ability to bring life again to enthusiasm again, excitement about life again. I'm interested how you do that and just really, what led you as far as spending a lot of time working with these seniors. What have you seen as people develop?
Yeah, I think that what we see, number one, is that having a positive view of aging to begin with is one of the key ingredients. 2022 study showed that people who were satisfied with aging had a 43% lower risk of dying, as well as risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, things like that. Another study a little bit earlier showed that people lived 7.5 years longer than their partner or than their peers if they simply had a positive view of aging. So I want to preface, any discussion about purpose and well-being with the fact that research demonstrates that if you have a purpose-filled perspective of aging, that it actually impacts your health outcomes and how long you may live. So it's really, really critical. I think a good bit of my career has been spent helping people plan for and carve out kind of a plan for their family member or for themselves that allows the things that matter to the family to be foremost in that plan. Because a lot of us, we just look at, okay, I need to find a place to live for my mom, or I just need to find a good place where that's safe and where she can get the help that she needs. But that is not the key. The key is to plan around what mom loves. If mom loves spending time with friends, singing hymns, right? If that's what makes mom tick, then we need to plan the whole life plan around what makes mom tick. If mom loves gardening outside every day with a little puppy, well, then we need to plan our whole retirement plan around that. Does that make sense?
You talk about that, and I think sometimes families forget that. They think of, well, I'm going to find a community that's closest to me, that's easy, that's maybe the least expensive. In reality, we're talking about a mental health, and mental health to me, we talk about the physical aspects of physical health and care, but we don't spend enough time as we take care of seniors talking about their mental health. And we're seeing effects. Of course, we're not even directly have all the results yet, but from isolation, from the pandemic, of seniors that have isolated themselves even more, we're seeing the adverse effects, Benjamin. And I know that is something that you guys obviously did whatever you could during that time, but now seeing people come out of the clouds per se, I'm sure you're finding much better response and more liveliness in your world.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even during the pandemic, though, we were really, really focused on engagement, right? How do we help people engage, even if they're in an apartment days? How do we help people stay connected to their neighbor through phone bingo, right? Or how do we get plays in the hallway and people can stand in their doorway? So we were trying to be creative, but yeah, for sure. Now that family members are all participating and there's lots and lots more live events and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of life for sure. I will go back to what you're saying though. It's not, my perspective is that yes, mental health is in itself a benefit, but I think that the key here is that purpose is where independence springs from and wellness springs from. I'll give you an example. So I'm working hard to bring Humanitude to the United States. It's a program in Europe and Asia that is not yet in the United States, and a whole set of techniques for caring for the most vulnerable people in our world. One of the mentors taught me a story about a gentleman who had lost, I think, a leg, and he had been in a really bad accident, and he was not doing any therapy, not doing anything, just letting himself go. And once they realized that he was an avid skier, they got him dreaming again that one day, even though he was 70 with these disabilities, that he would ski again. As soon as that dream took hold, he started participating in therapy. He started getting involved, taking care of himself. And pretty soon he was on the slopes again at 70.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes,
that's 70 years old.
Extreme example, but purpose births independence. Purpose births thriving. Births all the things that we really want to see in our elders.
Well, and as we look at that, I mean, in this hour, I really want to talk about how we bring that out, how we bring what we call rebirth into as we age. I know I have people around me. In the meantime, Benjamin, how do we reach you and Koelsch Communities?
You can go to koelschcommunities.com, KOELSCH, communities.com, or you can call us at 360-867-1900, 867-1900.
Fabulous. And everyone, Benjamin and I, we're going to be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.